blowing myself up. I mean,
let's get Zimmerman to pan to the right there. We've got military troops patrolling with assault rifles there. That looks like military, and we've got Jogger going by. Those are French military, aren't they, Joe?
Yes, sir, they are. And they've been around to a lot of different places. During the daytime, you haven't seen that much activity as far as a lot of patrolling. You'll see some soldiers from every now and then. But at nighttime, that's really when you start to see them come out, and they're patrolling, you know, with the guns in hand, ready to go. So that's what they're expecting, is something to happen in the cover of darkness like it's happened before.
Again, I'll go back to this question. How is the establishment going to get away with it when there are more attacks? Clearly, this is out of Syria. This is the failed ISIS armies are coming into the West. This is their retreat forward into their next theater. They admit that. They said that back in February. They're following a plan. There's going to be a whole bunch more attacks now. Undoubtedly, we've been predicting it. It's here. I want to come back to you and do 5 more minutes show and ask you that question and ask the listeners that question. What is the end game here? This is crazy town. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. Especially if you're in Europe or in Paris or in Belgium, we love to hear from you. Or if you're military or police, we'd like to get your take on this. I mean, we know they're going to take our liberties because of this, but they're going to get in trouble. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. Take advantage of this at InfoWarsLife.com.
And why wearing a Hillary for President t-shirt might get you punched in the face.
They thought it said Hillary for President. He said, I was seconds away from sending my bar back over here to punch you in the face. Since you're wearing a Hillary for Prison shirt, you don't have to buy drinks here. Everything's on the house.
Hillary for President! Hillary's not surging, I tell you that. They're not saying that. They're not saying, thank you.
There you have it. Donald Trump endorses Hillary for Prison. Get your Hillary for Prison 2016 t-shirt at the InfoWars store. And on the back, it says, legalize freedom. Show your disapproval of Hillary by buying your t-shirt today.
But what she's done is criminal.
This is an American president. Just add puppet, then vote and repeat every 4 years.
Is this what we can expect at an NFL or NBA game in the very near future? As the Bilderberg puppets of doom run civilization into an engineered grinding halt, shielded by faux blameless compassion. Call it fear-mongering, I call it reality. Folks, things are getting dangerous. House GOP caucus chairman Glenn Casada said, we need to activate the Tennessee National Guard and stop them from coming into the state, i.e. the refugees, by whatever means we can. Note to bleeding heart liberals that disagree with the previous statement from a man of action. The blood of Americans will be on your hands because of your fake, brainwashed liberal stance that could get us all killed. The jihadists are already in the United States, a complete nightmare scenario, courtesy of our commandeer-in-chief. The Daily Mail reports nearly 70 arrests have already been made of homegrown and refugee jihadists in the United States, including 6 Bosnian immigrants, 3 from Missouri, 2 from Illinois, and 1 from New York were charged in February. with sending money and military equipment to extremist groups in Syria, including ISIS and the al-Qaeda-affiliated al-Nusra Front. According to court documents, the group conspired via phone, Facebook, and email, such as Beach for places like Iraq and Syria, while using PayPal and Western Union to send funds to fanatics. 2 Minneapolis U.S. natives went to Syria and died fighting for ISIS. This exposed the Midwest as a hotbed for ISIS recruits. The growing Somali refugee population in the Midwest has already produced 8 Somali friends who were charged with conspiracy to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. One of those charges includes 20-year-old Abdurrahman Yassin Daud, who was born at a refugee camp in Kenya and arrived in the U.S. when he was 9, according to the Minnesota Star Tribune. Other incidents include a former U.S. Air Force serviceman from New Jersey joined the Mujahideen. 2 cousins, one a National Guard soldier from Illinois, plotted a raid on a military facility where they intended on slaughtering 120 militia. A Yemeni-born naturalized American pizza and chicken shop owner in Rochester, New York, was allegedly funneling jihadist recruits to a Syrian welcoming camp for training. Gunmen Elton Simpson and Nadir Souf were shot dead by police attempting to storm Pamela Geller's Muhammad art exhibit and contest. Austin, Texas native white Muslim convert Michael Todd Wolf was arrested at the George Bush International Intercontinental Airport, traveling to fly to Syria to train with jihadists. Wolf was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Self-described lone wolf for ISIS, Miguel Diaz, a 46-year-old convicted felon and Cuban immigrant, was jailed for 10 years in July on firearm charges. 21-year-old American Christopher Cornell bought an arsenal which he planned to use to launch a terror assault on Washington, D.C., declaring his affiliation to ISIS during a jail cell TV interview. Earlier this year, Judicial Watch revealed that the Obama administration gave more than 1,500 terrorists asylum in the United States in 2014. According to the government watchdog, the administration let 1,519 inadmissible foreigners embroiled in terrorism into the U.S. last year because the crimes were committed while under duress. Until Obama put the rubber stamp on bringing 10,000 Syrian refugees into the U.S. with no agreeable vetting process to weed out the jihadists, getting to America was difficult.
This is the same group whose spokesperson is bragging that group could actually take over the United States of America. Have a listen for yourself.
Now, our president and the puppets of Europe are literally aiding and abetting a military invasion against their own citizens. John Bound for INFOWARS.com.
These women and children, given the vouchers, more or less released into our society, is they're not tested for TB before they're released into our society.
Once they get here, the amount of damage that they do.
Property damage is staggering, and if you'll look at the fences south of the checkpoint, there's a 12-mile stretch there where the ranchers along the highway cannot run cattle on their ranch because those fences are constantly being destroyed on a daily basis. And our perimeter fences around the rest of the ranch are constantly being compromised. Last week, the boys spent 2 days out here fixing 5 or 6 spots where the fences were either cut or torn down by large groups of people coming through. We have windmills in every pasture, and what they'll do, they'll come up and break the float off where the water will come out of the pipe coming straight out of the ground, and the water will be pumped out on the ground instead of the water holding trough, and with that it'll leave the pasture without water. It's a big problem. We have one windmill that usually averages damage at least once or twice a month.
And so ram and running is pretty common in this area.
Oh yeah, bailouts and running through the fences is an everyday occurrence, sometimes 7 or 8 or 10 times a day.
If there is a dead migrant on your land, would you just naturally look for vultures?
Usually it's the buzzards, the vultures. Half the time we see vultures, it could be an illegal alien that died on your property.
You see a lot of the tragic stories of the immigrants dying of dehydration, and they're next to a road. They could have gotten water. One
of the last deaths we've had on our property was, right there on the highway on our fence line. And, they found her deceased there.
She died 5 feet from a crawl hole, 30 feet from the highway. So she almost made it. She had one sock on her foot, $3 in her pocket, and a little Spanish Bible, and that was it.
On the ground, the agents are frustrated. Morale is low. They don't like to see their work. You know, when they've apprehended these people, they don't like to see them just released into our society. They want them deported as much as you and I. All these Border Patrol agents we know are dedicated, patriotic people. We depend on them to be able to live here. I mean, if we didn't have the Border Patrol here, we probably wouldn't be here. I mean, we absolutely depend on them for our safety here. Equip them with the proper equipment that they need, night vision equipment, the latest night vision equipment, more boots on the ground. You know, we probably wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with right now, but that's not the case. You know, that's not happening. They had asked years ago for more help, and instead they were cut. And now all of a sudden the government's finding all this money to house these illegals and feed them and cater them when this could have been avoided. The criminal element is still coming through, and there's a substantial amount of that traffic slipping through here, and we're experiencing it every day. We've had a lot of traffic this week. There's been a number of encounters with these guys. There's imminent danger out here. These people have criminal intent. It would be nothing for us to be killed and the house ransacked and vehicles stolen. But there's only one way for this criminal element, the gang members, the young men that have been deported multi times, and this is their only route through. And this is what I'm seeing is all young males. I would say the last 50 or 60 illegal immigrants that I've seen out here have been 90%, 95% male. A lot of these teenage boys coming from El Salvador and Guatemala, to be able to survive in Guatemala City, Guatemala, you know, by the time they're 13 years old, if they're not a gang member, they don't live. And that's what we're experiencing here. And
they've murdered somebody.
Yeah, well, they've murdered somebody, or they had to be a gang member to be able to survive. We know for a fact that these gang members that are coyotes that lead the humans through here are ruthless and heartless, and if somebody gets cramped up, they walk off and leave them. They don't call 911 to give a location where this person is. They tell them they're going to die. Sometimes they abuse them, beat them up a little bit, slap them around, and then leave them, and that's usually where they die.
What advice would you give people visiting this area of Texas?
Well, everybody just knows that, you know, you need to be very vigilant. You don't want to let any of these people get too close to you. You want to keep a distance. You want to keep a cell phone with you. And a lot of this country doesn't have cell phone service, but you definitely need to be armed. And your Second Amendment rights are very, very crucial to be able to live here. It's a way past time to stand up and secure the border. No question there's a huge criminal element coming in here, going to every city in the United States, even Washington, D.C. People from terrorist countries, countries that are deemed special interest countries, pouring in here undetected. It's time to step up and shut the border down.
And that was an excerpt from the vault that you can see the full video of on the Alex Jones channel on YouTube, where you can keep up with the rest of our great reports. Reporters Paul Joseph Watson and Joe Biggs out in Paris. You can see their reports there as well. And don't forget to go to prisonplanet.tv. You can get yourself a free trial. You can see the nightly news, the special reports, the rants, all right there on prisonplanet.tv. Well, I'm Jakari Jackson from the INFOWARS Command Center, and we'll see you again tomorrow night.
Knockout is back. If you want a product that has 10 known ingredients that naturally get your body to relax, your brain to relax, so you get deep, restful sleep, Knockout's it. InfoWarsLife.com. L-theanine, hops flower extract, lemon balm extract, valerian root extract, chamomile flower extract, L-tryptophan extract, melatonin, and more. All organic, all the natural sources. It's the same price as leading brands of melatonin that are 3 milligrams a piece. It has 3 milligrams, the standard recommended dose for an adult. It's got the GABA, so it would probably cost $50 to take all this as separate pills. It's $19.95. You take one or two of these, and it just is really clean, restful sleep is what the reviews are. It's what I've experienced. and it just synergistically puts everything in there. InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.